This is a professional podcast, actually. Not exactly. I forgot to put myself in the pod. So, hello and welcome to the Gooners podcast open mic show after the demolition of Slavia Prague. That was fun. That was a bit unexpected. Squeaky bum time lasted exactly about 10 to 15 minutes, but it's a late night show. We know it's late over in the UK. It's late in Bulgaria, I hear. But we got a light chat room tonight, a light backstage room. So if you want to go to www.openmic.com, www.gooneropenmic.com, you can join us backstage, and we're going to go about 5 to 7 minutes with each person, have your say, and we'll chat about the game. What we're going to do today is change it up a little bit. We're going to ask you to come up with whatever you want to have to say about any of the players, any of the aspects of the game, the team's status, whatever the case may be. But make sure you cover at least one of our 14, 15 players today, including subs, and deep dive into that player and try not to repeat a player that's gone before. So, as is the case on the Open Mic show, if you are a duck breaker and have not been on the pod before, we're going to put you towards the front because we want to see some new faces in here. And as such, I'm happy to welcome to the podcast someone who's been waiting very, very patiently because you thought that the show started an hour ago. But my friend, CameroonianGooner, how you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing? How's everyone? You can hear me fine?
I can hear you fine. You're coming through loud and clear. I don't know if this is an obvious question or not, but where are you coming to us from tonight?
I'm in New York, Long Island, New York. So in the East Coast theory. So
beautiful. And you catch the game at home. What's New York like right now? Can you go to the pub? Can you go to O'Hanlon's?
I'm not actually in the city, so I'm in Long Island.
Right.
I wouldn't be in the pub. I wouldn't trust myself going to the pub given the state of the world right now. But I think there are, because I've seen images of like Troops on there. Now Barstool, but he's been in some of the pubs. I was about to say FTV, but I can't say that. He's now on Barstool. So he's been in some of the pubs before, and I think they are open in the city. But yeah, I've not been to. I think the pub was Blind Pig or what it was.
Yeah, the Pig's closed. O'Hanlon's now kind of the spot. There's a bunch all in and around the place. But I cannot wait. I just got my second vaccine a couple days ago.
I just got it yesterday.
Felt like so how you feeling today though? Because I felt like absolute dog shit yesterday.
Today I felt it. Yesterday was fine, but this morning I definitely woke up and I had a bit of a headache, a little bit of some flu-like symptoms. But I was happy because that means your immune system is working. I just kept drinking and I got some drinking water, not drinking.
Cheers, man.
Exactly. But then I got Tylenol and it's subsiding a bit, so we'll try to get some rest today. But I'm excited. I'm excited though.
Well, it's good catching up with you, man. So let's talk about the game. I mean, this team hadn't lost a home game in over 2 years until today, mofo. I don't know that they eliminated Leicester. They eliminated Wolves. Was it Wolves?
Rangers.
But there was another English team that they eliminated as well.
Oh yeah, it might have been.
And so, these are no mugs, but we made them look like it, didn't we?
We did. I mean, I expected a reaction from the players today, and the reaction was perfect. So, especially given the first, the way we lost that, I mean, I just remember my heart dropping, right? Because that was an Arsenal way. Well, we drew, but to me, it felt like a loss because they have their way goal.
Oh, that was a loss.
So my heart literally sunk, and I was like, do I really trust these players with how we've been playing to go out there and actually have a reaction? And that was it, right? From the very first moment, especially after the ESR goal was disallowed, I thought, hey, are they actually going to continue stepping up? Because again, that's another thing is, all right, we're at the bad end of the luck spectrum, but what are we going to do next? And you just saw them stepping up. And Lacazette from the very beginning, when he went in front of, the Slavia Prague players, you just saw they were there to do something. And I've never felt that way where we are dominating, keeping a clean sheet and just look like perfect, right? And that should have probably been more of the first leg, to be fair. But still, we have a quote unquote weaker side, right? Depending on compared to we don't have the likes of Odegaard, we don't like Aubameyang in the squad, right? We don't have a proper left back, and we killed it, absolutely killed it. So
because the boys came to play. I mean, this team can play amazing football when it wants to.
Yeah.
We've seen it. We've seen it a million times. We saw the first half against Wolves. Well, not a million. I wish it was a million, but first half against Wolves, whole game against Spurs. We've seen it against Leicester City. I mean, we've seen games where they're just out of their minds good, and we're like, where is this team the rest of the time? And to me, that is just kind of a function of a team that's not the finished product yet. Take a couple parts out, add a couple additional pieces in, hopefully get the chemistry right. Like, it's like mixing chemicals together, literally, exactly. But figuratively, because you're doing it with a football team. And that's why, I'm still hopeful of next season, despite how we may end up this year.
Yeah.
And for all we know, we may end up this year with our first European trophy in 27 years. So
that I don't really know how I will be able to react to that. I mean, I remember last year doing the FA Cup, and then if he pulls up this year somehow with the Europa League, I might be crying. But that's exactly what you said, right? The experimentation. And looking at next season, like what he did versus Sheffield, right? And I remember you actually were talking about on the pod is playing Xhaka at left back. It's kind of experimenting with the squad. What can we actually do, and where can we see ourselves, going with this team? And I thought, given that, he's probably going to do it today. Mind you, when the lineup first came out, I didn't really know how it would set up. He's actually, it's really, what's really funny is he's kind of doing the Pep. Where Pep Guardiola will put, I'm not saying we're not as good as Man City, but they'll put
I think that's what you're saying.
It's literally
you're here to say that, we've now reached that level, and
we've reached that level exactly.
The quadruple is ours.
Something, and I just don't know what we're going to play. But today, I probably trusted, Xhaka was going to be a left back, but again, like, was Emo Smith Rowe going to be in the middle, or was he going to be on the left? Right? Was Saka going to play in the middle, or was he going to the left? At first, I thought Saka was going to be on the left and Pepe was going to be at the right, but then they completely switched, right? And what was going to be Lacazette's role there? And I just feel as though he is now. He has learned what his proper squad is. He's putting the tactical nous that we're always looking for in managers, right? And in coaching, and you can't really deny the fact
that is my favorite phrase, by the way. Tactical nous.
I love the British for that. Like that's what they've taught me. Is one of the terms is tactical nous, and this is probably the first time I used it well. But he's been able to do that, so I was just happy. I mean, it was a complete domination from the very first half. Another thing that I felt really impressive is most of their attack came from their right side, but we weren't exposed, right? Granted, Xhaka was our left back, right? So that meant you were actually scared, but somehow we're able to neutralize the threat, right? I don't think Leno didn't have to make a single save in the first half, right? So, and that they felt as though they had a way into this next fixture or the next leg, right? Going into the semifinals, but we were able to completely neutralize it. I love the Hale End squad, right? Being able to pull us through again. Funny enough, like these teenagers are the ones that are saving our seasons every single time. But I mean, it was perfect. Nicolas Pepe again stepping up in the Europa League, right? I think now he's a second.
So we want to try to get like a deeper dive, and we've got just about a minute or so left before we bring on the next person from the waiting room. But let's deep dive on Pepe, because I want to do one player where you give a rating, you talk a little bit more about him. Nicola Pepe. I mean, Are we going to end up having to pay more money to Lille because of how good he ends up being? I mean, is it going to be like the 18 million goes on for a fifth year to sixth year, as long as because this guy is on a trajectory. He is in the ascendancy right now. Sure.
He is in the and I love that you hit the bell that he is on the ascendancy. I think he was a player that needed to be given time, right? It's a new league, new manager. I mean, he faced 3 managers since he came on. The way Emery kind of played him was a hybrid number 10/wing role. Like, it was very weird, and I think he's been able to just get the confidence this year. And I've always seen the skill. Is he worth 72 million? I don't really like that question because I don't decide.
It doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't matter anymore. It's what do you actually produce? And he stepped up. I mean, that goal was a proper winger's goal. He's not only in the right space at the right time, but he's able to hold off the player. I mean, that was pure strength there, right? And the player's taller than him and finish it with his left foot perfectly, right? And that's that killer instinct that sometimes you need in those games. So
yeah, it almost looked like he got kind of the ball stuck at his feet and it was going to end up getting snuffed out by the keeper. But he had a different plan in mind. So
and the assist to him too. So I mean,
he looks like he's playing happy. He looks like he's enjoying his football. He's being given a little bit more freedom. He's not looking across the pitch and seeing Willian anymore. He's not looking behind him and seeing Bellerin anymore. So I think it's just a new Pepe that we're seeing, and long may it continue. So, I mean, on a scale from 1 to 10, not to be derivative of post-game ratings and stuff, because the Highbury squad does them as well or better than anyone. But what would you give Pepe as your rating for this game?
9 at least for me. I just he was everywhere for them, and and there were times so you could see, like I said, was looking to make that pass, but it would get broken up or intercepted, or right away. So I think he was the key to our attack there. So yeah,
excellent. Well, what's your first name?
Billy. I'm Billy. Yeah,
Billy. It's great to have you. Thanks for breaking your duck with us. I hope you'll join us on the on future post game open mics. Our next one is when we play our next game Saturday here on the East Coast. It'll be like 11:30. So love to see you again.
No,
been great talking to you. Take care.
Great talking to you, Magic Mike.
All right. By the way, some people are talking in the chat. We did our second prediction video contest. It's not really a contest as much as it is just something to do for fun. Get to see other faces of Gooners. Much like this, we're really trying to kind of enlarge the circles of the community and the Gooners. So one way we can do that is by grabbing some people that you may not have seen before and get them out there. So while no one picked 4-0, we did have a 3-0, and so I want to give props. And later in the show, we'll show some of the videos that might have been a little kookier, but this one was taken seriously and probably the closest to the correct one, from Jason Jones, formerly of Texas, now of North Carolina. So here we go.
This is a tough one. I'm going to go 3-0, hopefully, obviously to the Arsenal, but I could see them sitting back and getting a goal on us at some point. So, because this is Arsenal. Come on, Arsenal.
This is Arsenal, but today we were the old Arsenal. Speaking of the old Arsenal, perhaps one of my 2 or 3 oldest, not oldest in his age, but oldest in duration Arsenal mates, Rob Ford from DC, my mate, my boy. I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. This lockdown thing is nuts, but you're looking fresh in your outfit with the pink and the red, and I mean you may not match, but So how you been? How you feeling today?
Look, man, today was great. Arsenal did itself and the world a load of good by beating those guys, and I'm pretty happy about the way we performed from from bow to stern. I mean, we just really took it to them rather than having it taken to us.
Isn't it nice when we do that? I mean, all of a sudden the irony of this is I looked at kind of the in-game statistics, and with about 10 or 15 minutes left to go, they had 65% of the possession to our 35%, which is interesting. I almost thought it was wrong, but possession doesn't equal chances and opportunities, because we were kind of quick with them and we didn't need the ball that much. But by the end of the game, it was 60-40, because the last few games, last few minutes, we were just kind of squeezing it out. But, just beautiful to see this. And I understand who the opponent was, but how much do you think the world was behind Arsenal tonight for once? I mean, the world, other than like Lazio supporters, who couldn't have been rooting against Slavia Prague tonight, unless you hate Arsenal, or you really, really hate Arsenal?
There are a few clubs I can think of that probably.
That's true. No, they were
besides Lazio, but
they were too busy worrying about their paint drying in their trophy cabinet today.
I mean, look, the performance was just, it was borderline. I think it was borderline magical. And MKL here brings up a good point about possession. I mean, I think the way we employed the counter, it was swift, lightning fast. Got us on the front foot. I mean, even with ESR getting that first goal drawn back, we were still able to keep up. We're still able to keep up our spirit and our pressure.
Well,
and I think,
how often have you seen something like that just like change the body language of the guys and just end up being a 20-minute penalty in a sense?
It's interesting you mentioned,
and it just
body
came
language.
right back.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you mentioned body language, because before kickoff, they had a look in their eyes that said to me that they are not going to go softly into the night. I mean, these guys were bound and determined to come out there and perform. And yeah, they weren't there for Slavia's unity nonsense or whatever. Like I mean, I saw
how much do you think that we're if you're listening to this, we're showing the picture of the Arsenal players kneeling with Lacazette right on the center stripe, and the Slavia Prague players doing their standing arms around each other, which is, you can interpret that any way you want, but this picture is just iconic. And Lacazette leading by example, just, he would have walked right up to them and done that if it wasn't against the rules.
They certainly had to look before the match like they would have. And I mean, I think that set the tone for the match in terms of like they weren't going to take anything from these guys. They weren't going to get backed down by these guys at all. I mean, yeah, the team that Slavia ended up possessing the ball for a good portion of the game, but I mean, again, their attitude filtered directly into their counterattack strategy, and I mean it again, lightning. Not lightning in a bottle, lightning on a pitch. It was bad to watch. And
so, what player do you want to highlight then? Like who struck you as someone either that excelled or that you want to talk about specifically? Because I mean, you could search and search, and come up with who your man of the match was, and it could be different. 6 out of 7 people could have a different man of the match for this one.
I'm going to go with an X factor here, and that's Pablo Mari, and here's why.
All right.
Compared to the way Gabriel played in the first leg, Mari was cool. He was collected. There weren't a lot of times where he was caught on his bad foot. He wasn't really tentative. He kind of helped pull things together a little bit. If we hadn't spent so much time on Xhaka or someone else to talk about Xhaka, I would also highlight him as a very calming and like leveling force. But Pablo Mari definitely, certainly from the back, helped keep things stitched together so that even when Slavia had possession, that they were getting snuffed out.
In a vacuum right now, regardless of who his partner is, regardless of who the opponent is. Are you starting Mari over Gabriel if you have to make the choice right now?
I think it still depends. It still depends on the circumstances, opponent.
So you're not going to follow my hypothetical. You're just. I need an answer.
That's not what I do, Mike. That's not what I do. You've known me a long time, as you said. Like right. I don't do this hypothetical stuff.
All right. Well, hypothetically speaking, I got to move on to the next person in the waiting room. Rob, good to see you again. I'm telling you, as soon as all the vaccines are worked out, you're coming out and spending some time at my place. I miss you, and great to see you tonight.
Miss you too, man, and thanks for having me on. Really
sure. If you want to give your Twitter handle out or anything like that, feel free. If people want to connect with you, chat with you. Sure.
Doomscroll FC at the DMV Rob B. So I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, at the DMV Rob B. Cool. All right, Robbie. Take care, bud.
Adios.
See ya. All right. A lot of chat in the chat room about Unai Emery and Villarreal and the Yellow Submarine. And yes, that is going to be a pretty big topic. And yes, if you really want to talk about that today, fine. But I'd really rather focus on the game today because, I don't like tempering my, me. I don't, well, maybe you don't, but I like being in the moment when I'm happy. I don't like tempering it and say, oh yeah, but you know what? That's me. And this is an open mic show. It's not a mic show. So you know what? Have your say if you really want to. So the next that we're going to play of the prediction videos for today, all wrong answers, by the way, is going to be someone who I know. Well, it's someone's family member who I know is in the chat. David Ziegler's in the chat. And we're going to play one of his family members' video predictions today.
Hi, my name is Joy Ziegler, and I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I think Arsenal will win 2-0 tomorrow.
All right, I have a few questions. First of all, what drugs were you on when you made that, Lori? And secondly, if that dog is at the corner of Gillespie and St. Thomas, you're not going to see her again. Anyway, more to come later. Next to join us is, I believe I had said it would be Darren. Darren, you ready to go?
I'm ready.
What's up, bro? How you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
Not bad. Not bad. This is this is like our fourth or fifth open mic show, maybe fourth open mic show. The first two were like diabolical failures on Arsenal's part, and we had, we didn't have to, but we chose to go on afterwards, and it's good therapy because by the end of it, I felt less bad. Mm-hmm. But these are just celebrations now, and this is fun. I could deal with this. How you feeling after this one?
I was very, obviously at the beginning I was sort of very skeptical. I was like, sort of the nerves all kicked in, but now it's like, the first goal, yep. Second, I was like, wow, okay, now this is Arsenal coming back into it now. We
never do this. We never go the easy route. We always, even when we score a goal in the league or in a cup tie, in the first 10 or 15 minutes, like we did today.
I literally blinked. I was like, what just happened? Hey, okay.
It's when the second one goes in that I'm like, whoa, this is something different. Because the first one, fine. And then, 45, 60, 80 minutes. My prediction today was that we were going to score early. And then it was going to be like 75 more minutes of back and forth. And we were going to concede late. Just because that's what I'm conditioned to at this point. But no, it was just, 21, 24, and 27, I think the goals were. Or was it 18? No, it was 18, 21, and 24.
It was close between them, definitely.
And it was done and dusted by that point. So any particular player that you want to focus on today? We've talked about Mari. We've talked about Pepe. Who struck your fancy today?
I've kind of got two. As most people know, I'm very fussy with the right back position. I think
Look over your shoulder there, and we'll see an example of that. Plus you.
Yeah. I'm going to say Chambers is one of them because I thought we don't see much of him. And we've always sort of played Bellerin, but we've always played the same players. But to have him playing, I think he did it well for me. And he's especially like how he played in that right back position. And second one, I'd have to say Smith Rowe because he's becoming, he's building himself up, and I think he's becoming a much better player as each game goes on. He's impressing me every single time. 66
magnificent minutes from ESR today, and when he goes off for El Neni in a 3-0 game at that point, or I don't remember if it was 3-0 or 4-0 at that point. Probably 3. That's the right substitution to make. ESR. Normally you'd think young players have more energy, but in football, I've learned, 19-year-olds are not fully formed in a sense, whereas a 28-year-old, is in the prime of their physical capabilities. So, and then you've got a 48-year-old who is absolutely diabolical when it comes to physical capability. For him to be able to put in a shift like that, man of the match shift, even though he only played like 2/3 of the game, and Arteta, I think after the game has said about him and Saka that, it's just a joy to watch them play every day in training. He hasn't said that about a lot of young players. And I'm not going to focus on who he hasn't said that about, but that tells you a lot. And as far as Chambers is concerned, I love that you pointed him out. I love this guy. I liked him before he went out on loan to Fulham, but he was flawed. Maybe it's just because, with a couple people leaving the squad, he is by far the best looking guy on the team. The ability for him to come out of the cold. He was nowhere to be seen, and it wasn't because he was hurt. He was hurt. He recovered from injury, but by all expectations, he was fit, but not even in the 18, and then not even in the 11. And for him to be able to come out of Arteta's cold, which we know is it can be a dungeon down there.
Yeah, definitely.
And really, I mean, he has taken that right back position over. Bellerin is going to struggle to get any minutes from here on out, and Cedric has gone back to really being a second or third tier replacement, and we're not even seeing him at left back. So Chambers has not set a foot wrong, and even got he got an Ozil assist in this one, because it wasn't exactly, it didn't create the goal. Saka created the goal, but there he is pushing the ball forward from the right back position, and that's what Dicko would have done.
Oh, yeah, definitely 100%. But I think I find Chambers, I think because he wasn't played enough, so we didn't get to see a lot of him. For him to progress more chances, and I think tonight just proved it. It literally proved how good he can play in that position. I've got no faults with him at all. And as I said, I'm very fussy whoever plays in that right back position, because someone has to be as good as my man. Because
well, no one can be that good, but we only need somebody to be 80% of that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're in good shape.
But yeah, I think Emily Smith-Rowe was definitely the man of match for me, and he's going on my new shirt next time. So
fantastic.
Definitely. So
yeah, it's killing me, because 2 years ago I made a promise I was not going to buy shirts with the names on the back. And then my son talked me into, and it didn't take much talking in, to get a Tierney shirt for this season. And of course, when I got it, he immediately got hurt. So I don't really want to do that. But between Martinelli and Smith Rowe and Saka and Odegaard, if he stays, there's a lot of people that I would want to get on that shirt. But you can support the player, I guess, without them being on the back of the shirt. Definitely. Darren, we're gonna switch off now. It's great to see you. Hope you'll join us again.
Yep.
You want to share your socials?
Yeah, because I'm going to be doing, in the new season, I'm doing some new stuff.
That's
for
right.
The new season, so I'm going to have many guests if you guys want to join. So just follow my name, which is Boy Darren, and just keep a lookout. There's new stuff coming up in the new season. So,
well, fantastic. Good to see you again, and come on, you Gooners. All right. The next video, I'm going to play these, I guess, in between each one. And if you're we've got 4 in the waiting room. There's room for more. If you want to go to GoonerOpenMic.com, it's on the scroll at the bottom of the screen. You can join us and probably get on closer to the top of the hour. The next prediction video, and this is more just to kind of show you not what we're looking for, because we're looking for anything that you might want to send our way. But the next prediction video came from somebody that some people know.
Magic Mike Gooners podcast, everybody. Arsenal to win the game. Score, I could go for a 2-0. 2-0 to Arsenal. I'll take a 1-0 to the Arsenal. But an Arsenal win and to move into the semi-final. That'll do me. All the best.
Love Super Kev, love his optimism, and if you came here from, or if you regularly watch the Highbury squad, he is a barrel of positivity and knowledge and perspective that shouldn't be missed. Today, the 3 of them were just absolutely off their rocker, happy about the game today. So, made for a good watch. But next in line, I believe it is who we got. Let me just make sure before I bring this dude on. All right, Fergus, it's your turn. What's up, Fergus?
I'm sitting here going, do it. It's nearly midnight, man. It's nearly midnight.
That's true. I should give preference to people. Well, you're the only one remaining in the let's call it the dressing room. That I called it the chamber once, and people are like, that's like a gun reference. And I'm like, I wasn't thinking of that. I was thinking like,
Mike, I've always got one in the chamber for you.
Exactly. I guess that's what I was thinking. So,
yeah.
So we've now expelled you from the chamber into the pod, a place where you're accustomed to being. Did you see this coming? And by this, I don't mean a win. I mean the kind of win that we had.
Oh, no. No. Definitely not. No. I thought at best, Trev on our podcast, our preview podcast, predicted a 1-1, and I didn't want to do a 1-1 and then penalties and so on and so forth. I optimistically went a 2-1, but if I'm honest, I thought Trev was optimistic. I just think we've been inconsistent so much that I thought we might have got found out, because Slavia Prague have been, undefeated at home for what is it? I think it
was over 2 years until today.
Yeah, exactly. They've won the majority.
Now they got to go to. We're undefeated in the Bulgarian league, or the Bulgarian league. I got Bulgaria on my mind in the Czech league.
But also in Europe, they've been undefeated in 10 games as well, Mike. So, okay, some of that is qualifying stages and so on. So, but the beat Rangers, granted that they had a lighter side out. Leicester. At Rangers, the beat a full strength Rangers. There were no mugs, and we done them. We done them.
Did we turn them over? Did we turn them over?
Are you going to ring the bell?
Did they down tools? Did yeah. Were they in the descendancy, or they were diabolical today at 6s and 7s.
Sixes. They were all over the place, man. All over the place. Over the place.
Yeah, and we hit it for 6. All right. Yeah, we almost hit it for 6. Actually, we had 2 more goals, and one of them was disallowed. So, what player do you want to focus on? Player or players? You can go up to 2.
Well, Smith Rowe was outstanding. I will have to admit, I watched the first half on my mobile phone in a freezing outdoor space in my local pub, because our pub's just opened in the UK on Monday. So, and my daughter also has started working in the local pub for a shift, just for a few. She's back over from Germany, so she's working over there.
I can't believe I forgot Pony. How could I have forgotten Pony? That's my favorite.
Yeah. But I went over there to wind her up. But watching the first half, I thought even on my phone, both ESR and Pepe were outstanding. And I am not a Pepe fan, as you well know. I call him the one-legged donkey. He is absolutely.
You might need to start changing your tune a little bit, or are you going to be agenda boy and just ride that out to the end until?
Agenda boy, all the way.
So if he turns into Belanda or Pepe, you're going to ask why he didn't do that from the beginning, and say that we could have.
Absolutely, because I can't lose face. I'm
that's how the internet works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you put yourself out there, you can't roll it back.
Well, look, I say that in jest, but in reality, I will roll it back. If he had a good game tonight. He had a good game when he came on against Slavia with Aubameyang last week, and he does turn up occasionally, but I just find
his game has gone through the roof since one personnel change was made, and this is another of my favorite expression: addition by subtraction. I mean, Pepe has.
He didn't get malaria. Is that what you mean?
No. He has had ponytails and braids, and since Bellerin's been out of the lineup, Pepe's been on fire. I just can't connect with you anymore.
You're absolutely right. Pepe has worked better with Cedric. He's worked better with Chambers, and when he plays with Bellerin, listen. Again, you picked 2 players on.
It doesn't work. And to Arteta's credit, I don't know if Arteta stumbled on this, or if he's even recognized it, or if it's a coincidence. But you haven't seen Bellerin and Pepe on the same side for about 6 weeks. I mean, even when Bellerin has played, I don't think.
I think the only place you're going to see Bellerin right now, Mike, is on the transfer list, and that's the only place he is.
I hope so. And I love Hector, but he's run its course. Absolutely. At this point. So Tony wants to know. Sorry. What gender you are? Because you're a gender boy.
Well, is Irish a gender, or do I have to be like Irish, sort of
I don't know.
male-ish, female-ish?
We're not going to be one of those pods where you show us what gender you are. That would have been last week.
No. Hang on. No, that's
No. I'm frantically searching for the kick button, except I know you. You're a grandpa. You don't show your peen on camera. So in any case,
Mike, I told you it's cold over here.
I know. Well, shrinkage. You have no excuse. So we're gonna switch it. I just love the feeling of this win. Anything else you want to say? And obviously, tell us your fantastic podcast with your mates Trev and how often is Mem on? He was on the show that I was on a couple weeks ago, but is he on a regular basis? And it's Mem. It's not Mems. There's two different guys that are like in person.
No, there's Mem who's Turkish, and then you got Manny as well, who was on many moons ago on the audio. Mem and Mems are the same person. That they do pop on occasionally, but he's got lots of stuff going on business wise and work wise and family wise that he needs to sort out. But Trev was on tonight, and following from your Gooner podcast from last week. Trevor wore a bow tie. He also wore a stripy. He wore a red bow tie and a stripy
for Dickie Bow Thursday.
Yeah, Dickie Bow Thursday, and he wore a stripy shirt as well. He looked like the Colonel. Honestly, he did look like the Colonel. I was like, he's finger licking good. He was really finger licking good.
That's another episode where we see him actually licking.
That's on a different platform.
But that's on our Pornhub link that we used to have until they shut it down. Which people think I'm just talking shit. We actually did upload the podcast to Pornhub a couple.
Yeah,
times.
I wasn't on that one. Honestly, don't tell the wife, please. No. Don't tell the wife.
No, that was the one where we had Josh Kroenke on a couple summers ago. It was sponsored.
Dan was amazing, wasn't he?
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, but I explained the story that I'd never ever heard until your podcast, the Open Mic podcast you had on last week, where I finished with the hybrid squad and Kevin went, I want to get on. Get Mike to send me a link, and he messaged you and you sent him a link, and he jumped onto this goonermike.com link. And he jumped on, and you had some guy, and I think in Arkansas or something like that, sitting there chatting, sitting in his car chatting to him.
Yeah, no, that was Aston from Orlando, Florida, and the look on his. Oh, actually, we have.
He was overwhelmed that he was on the phone with on the internet with an ex-Arsenal footballer.
Fergus, this is it. Joining us today is the one and only Kevin Campbell, fresh off of. This is also a gift for you, Aston, because I think Aston's a fan. One and only Kevin Campbell, fresh off of.
You're good, aren't you? You are good at this.
I love that. I love both of them. Aston is great, and the reaction was priceless.
But Kevin, I know I'm taking up time, and you got other people in the green room. I will leave after this. But Kevin explained.
That's what it's called. That's what I should call it. Or the red. I'll call it the red room.
Yeah. Well, the red room works. The green room works for me because I'm Irish as well, so that works
true.
as well.
You were in the green room. Everyone else is in the red room.
But you explained, or Kevin explained, the rationale behind why he wears a bow tie on a Thursday, and I remember probably about 90% of it because I was trying to get to sleep and I was listening to it, and he fundamentally said that they have a dress down Friday, and on Thursday, because they were in the security business and everything, he turned up and he had a bow tie on, and some young lady in work that he worked with came along and said, you look really smart, this, that and the other. Friday come and went, and they're the dress down day. Monday he turned up to work.
She said, Dickie Bow, you've got the Dickie Bow on, you look handsome or smart or something like that, but she just kept saying Dickie Bow.
Yeah,
you didn't really know what it meant.
But on the Monday, Kev turned up back in the office again, and just normal and everything else. And he said, where's the lady? I'm really sorry, but I can't remember her name, which is really rude of me. But he somebody in the office said, well, you haven't heard. Unfortunately, she had a brain hemorrhage and she died that Thursday, Friday night. And since that day, 6.5 years, super Kevin Campbell has worn a Dickie bow and not made a big deal of it, just to remember her, just for himself and for the people that know.
And I mean, the guy goes to sleep at 1 a.m. and wakes up at 4 a.m. I mean, the guy, he's a machine. But
he's a machine.
Every Wednesday night before I go to bed, I see the tweet because it's 4 a.m. there, 5 a.m. there, and I'm still awake on Wednesday night. Everyone happy Dickie Bow Thursday just puts a smile on my face. But especially now that I know the story, so
amazing.
For everyone that wasn't here a week or two ago when he told that story, it's a great one, and thanks Fergus for retelling it.
So the point is, you need to watch Guns and Yellow Ribbons podcast. Okay.
I thought it was going to be like,
no.
Don't take anything for granted and be nice to people and that sort of thing. But
you got to watch Guns and Yellow Ribbons.
This was a plug for your podcast.
Yeah, because I've given you this information and I've plugged your podcast. But also, guys, and I know it's mostly American based, and there are some of us in the UK that jump on the open mic, but it's brilliant. It's fantastic that you're given this platform for especially the American for fellow podcasters mostly, but no, for like you'd Aston on, you'd a few of the other guys on, and you had CameroonianGooner on, and you've had loads of different Arsenal fans having their opinion. I think it's really good, and keep it going, Mike.
Thank you, and I'm far from the only person who's had that idea. I mean, we've done them over the years, but never on a regular basis like until now. But there are a lot of other people doing it. One in particular who started doing it 2 days ago, and seems to think that he came up with the idea. Unlike him, we will not be having kids on though.
Will he be negative and just want everything to be bad about the club?
It would be that, and a lot of 13 to 16-year-olds coming on, and we will not be like that. So, anyway, good to see you, Ferg. Talk to you soon.
Take it easy.
Come on, you Gooners.
Up the Arsenal.
All right, we're cruising along. We got 3 more in the champagne room, as it was suggested we call it. I'm going to call it the red room, and here was one of our other game predictions that we had for today's game. We're now getting into the very, very weird.
I am Phantom Nipple from Nippletown. We are going to beat Slavia Prague 2-0. We're going to do them in. Goals from Lacazette and Pepe.
Now, on the plus side, he said it would be 2-0. I don't know if you could understand that. He said it would. I slowed it down so I could understand it. He said it would be 2-0. He said Lacazette would score and that Pepe would score. So he did get, partly right. On the downside, it was a fucking nipple. And I know who made that video. And if you watch the full version on our YouTube page, there will be a name given. But I didn't ask for that, but I didn't not ask for that. So I suppose that's what we got. Next in the house is gonna be Matt.
What's going on?
Another one of my real in-person buddies. Although you've moved, and this might be the only way we see each other for a while. But Matt's a guy that has frequented my home pub, formerly his home pub in Arlington, the Arlington Gooners, at Ireland's forecourt. God, it's been so long since I've been there. I almost forgot the name of the place, but
it has been a long time.
Soon I will be back, and you're now in Pennsylvania, is that right?
Yeah, I'm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania now, but not too far away.
Are you Amish now?
No, but there are a lot of Amish people here.
I mean, the beard is growing in nicely. I see some butter over your shoulder, but enough of the Amish. I know they're not watching.
No,
but I still don't want to really make it out as though I'm So comments on the game, Matt. It's this would have been one that would have been a heck of a lot of fun at the pub.
Yeah, and definitely ending with a fireball shot for all of us for sure.
Maybe 4 fireball shots.
That would be ideal. The person who has been the most disappointing for me in the past 6 weeks, but I feel like has had a really strong last week, Stanley Ceballos. I mean, he was a disaster class waiting to happen for the last month. And it just feels like in the last 2 or 3 games that we've seen the side of him that made him successful, that had us so excited to have him come back. I mean, I was freaking out when he put out his video that he was coming back for another year from Real. And to see some of those little moments of class out of him was just nice.
I mean, that guy's never going to actually play for Real Madrid, is he?
No.
I mean, that Odegaard you could see playing for Real Madrid. Unfortunately, but Ceballos. I mean, I think we're either stuck with him or he's off to Valencia or something like that next, because I just haven't seen enough of him. Moments of brilliance, but the consistency. If you can't be consistent, then you're the guy. You're in the group of people that Arteta's got to move out over the summer.
100%.
Even if you can be good on the day. Yeah, if you can be good on the day, like Bellerin can be good on the day. Even Joe Willock was good on the day. But I mean, that's we can't afford any more players where we don't really know what we're getting out of them at the beginning of the day.
No, and it's interesting as we see different people partner with Partey and what he brings out of them. Obviously, him and Xhaka bring that defensive force in certain moments, but it's been interesting with Ceballos and how much he moves around those pockets that Partey finds to then make a really strong pass forwards. I've seen a lot of in these last few matches, and that's been nice to see a little bit more from him too.
Yeah, and I just learned that you completely took one of our other Red Room members. He was going to go with Ceballos because I think Ceballos was kind of flying under the radar. I didn't particularly. I am not sophisticated enough to watch 11 people and see how well they play. I could maybe 4 max, and I really key in on those 4, and then I kind of get crowdsource information on the others because that's just how I watch. Ceballos just kind of slipped under my radar. I didn't see anything particularly good or bad out of him.
He didn't make a mistake big enough for you to notice him, which is great. That's what we're looking for in the midfield right now. So we can get some strength in there. We're looking for guys that don't actively make things worse.
Yeah, I mean, I know you could say that about the back, and the referee. Like when if you don't notice them, that's a good thing. But in midfield, I guess you want a little bit more. But it's not a criticism against Ceballos. It's just that there's so many people to choose from today. But I would agree, he has stopped Ceballos-ing a little bit in recent games, and it's good to see that. So. Anyone else you want to grab? We still have about 6 players who no one's mentioned yet, and we got to get to it.
Yeah, well, I think 3 quick points. Number 1, Pepe should never play anywhere but the left because he's been amazing when he's on that left-hand side. Want to keep seeing that. Lacazette in form, looking like he wants to be sold this summer and showing other teams how good he can be for when he plays somewhere else.
Do you think that, or do you think he wants to stick around and make Balogun wait a little bit longer? And Martin,
yeah, I think we're back in that same problem from the beginning, the end of the Wenger era, the beginning of the Emery dot. I guess it's not really an era; it was just like a quick little blip in time, but. It just doesn't work with him and Aubameyang right now. Like there's just so many better options that we can have out there, and his hold-up play is just so much better. So I'm happy to see that. Unfortunately, our main captain has malaria, obviously, but I think we've just had some good flow the last couple of games.
Yeah, absolutely. Some quotes today, and I'll get your feedback on a couple of these from Arteta after the game.
Yeah.
On Aubameyang, we just spoke with him. He's at home. He's fine. He's completely fine at the moment. He had 2 days in the hospital to get the right treatment, but he's feeling good now. When he wasn't involved against Sheffield, the previous couple of days he wasn't feeling well, but nobody could expect that malaria would be the case. Doc did more tests and more analytics, and that's when he came on. They did a great job, and he's safe and feeling good. I was pretty outspoken in saying, flu, shmoo. I've heard the flu thing many, many times before. Sorry, I was obviously wrong. Arsenal make up some ridiculous excuses, injuries, whatever, to hide like benchings. Malaria is generally not one of them.
No, although I don't know what else could possibly happen when he goes on international duty before we decide he can't anymore. We've got malaria. We've got a billion hours like lying on the floor of an airport. Like it's been the nightmare of international for him. And like,
I mean, I know he won't, but can he just retire from the international team? And,
for real.
Look,
For real.
It's not for us to say, but yeah, you're right. Those trips. We used to worry about players coming back with injuries. Now we worry about them coming back with communicable diseases or viruses or flesh-eating.
Well, I don't know that much about malaria, but does it go away that easily, or is this something he's going to be?
I can't imagine. I mean, Arteta saying he's fine, I'm sure means he's like out of the woods from a very serious condition. I don't think. Dr. Mike says that we won't see him for the next 2 weeks.
Agreed.
That's what I would guess, at least. And you know what? Wish him a quick recovery. I like the way we're playing without him in the lineup. So take your time, get well, and let's see if we can put the third, the fourth, the fifth game together that we've never been able to put together this season. Big hello to Kevin Campbell in the chat. Like I said, he's up at all hours, and then he wakes up at all hours. Kev, Fergus was on before Matt and told your Dickie Bow story again because it touched us both, and so maybe the Gooners podcast will start wearing bow ties on Thursdays after in honor of you and in honor of your ex.
Hopefully we stop playing on Thursdays soon and we can wear them and enjoy them and not wear them on a game day.
That's true, because you walk into a pub in a bow tie and an Arsenal jersey and it's like a little weird. But yeah, Peter, I know I think it's on that. You're the computer speaker, so but it's all right. We've lived with it for a few minutes. We'll be all right. And one of the other comments that was made by Saka on potentially winning the Europa League. I think we're such a great team, and it's so amazing to be involved when we play like this. We've got a great chance of going to the final and winning this competition. I mean, there's nothing groundbreaking in that comment other than the fact that you got a 19-year-old who already sounds like he's one of the leaders of the club. And, I mean, after a few maybe jaded performances, if we could even call it that, with him, the Saka that just dazzles was amazing. I think maybe he saw Phil Foden yesterday and was like, I got to raise my level a little bit here.
Yeah, I think the one thing that we can give the Unai Emery shout out for is he really did want to get these young guys in. And I don't know if the Emil Smith-Rowes, the Sakas, the Nketiahs, all of them, like the development that they made seemingly in the time that he was there and their entrance to like the main, the senior team was a lot. So it's nice to see someone finally give youth that chance.
Well, malaria sticks around for life from Dr. Ford, one form or another.
It's unfortunate. Hopefully that's not a hamper for him long term.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly would never, wish anything bad on any individual, as far as a Arsenal player is concerned.
Yeah.
But all right, Matt, we're gonna switch you out.
Great seeing you.
Yeah, good to see you again, man. When everything opens back up, make a trip back down. I know Lancaster.
I will. We'll make it a run for an Arsenal game and then a DC United after that.
Oh God, do we have to?
Absolutely.
Can we do the Caps instead?
Sure. Just
to
get out and go to a live sports event.
Yes, I can't wait. All right, take care, man.
See you soon.
Bye-bye. All right, seeing some of my actual in-person mates on camera for the first time in a year and a half. It's nice to see them. The final prediction that I wanted to play today, and again, these just get weirder and weirder, but you can just put a normal one in there. So the rules about this are the day before the game, and it can be 2 days before the game if you want, but the day before the game, we go collecting prediction videos, do like a 10 to 30-second video, give your name, the city you're from, and your prediction on the game. And you can add anything else that you want to add. Just try to keep it to 30 seconds. And you can tweet them to us at the Gooners Pod. You can DM me on Facebook if you have me on a Facebook friend. If you don't, you can friend me. I accept most friend requests from people I know, and also on Instagram, which I'm kind of learning right now how to kind of use. But you can send us something that way. So we're just trying to get maybe 10 to 20 every week and put them together and put them out there for some entertainment. Here is kind of the strangest one of them all.
Mike, I'm in the bath, so I'll keep it sort of short and sweet. Slavia Prague versus Arsenal in Prague. I'm going to go for...
Sounds not good on that, is it?
A very sneaky, squeeze your bum, 2-1 Arsenal. Don't know who's going to score the goals. Sorry, I'm in the bath. Terrible. Haircut tomorrow. 2-1 Arsenal, 3-2 on aggregate.
Thank you, I think. Again, every single person other than one today picked an Arsenal win. I picked a kind of non-conclusive answer, but the one person who didn't pick an Arsenal win, I'll play his actually next. I kind of forgot about that. So next to join us is going to be Vivek. Or did I go out of order here? Well, if I went out of order, I'm sorry. Scott, I'm sorry. You'll be how we finish off. So Vivek, good to see you, mate.
Good to see you. How's it going?
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Thirsty Thursdays, let me put it that way.
The only thing I can drink on Thursday right now is water. And it's not boiled water.
It was a good game, so treat yourself.
No can do. I'm on the wagon big time. I'm trying to get the natural face reduction, so my face looks more like the size of yours in maybe like 6 months. But
if you want to see the change, my face was like this, like literally 2 years ago.
Well, see, you can be my inspiration, then, just. You'll either see me crash and fall off the wagon, or you'll
you can see that on my Twitter profile at Vivek_Malik, with the flag at. So it was, I think, the Arsenal tour in Jakarta. That's where I saw them play live for the first time. But the stark difference when I was like literally round-faced first.
Well, you know what? That gives me hope. So you are in San Jose, right? San Jose, California, or Bay Area?
Okay. Well, I mean, I go watch games in San Jose. I go to watch games in San Francisco. So just cycle around.
You're bipubual?
I guess so. But mostly it's San Jose because that's closer.
Yeah. You swing both ways with pubs.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's good. So today, I mean, we've talked about Chambers. We've talked about Mari. We've talked about Ceballos. We've talked about ESR, Pepe. There's a lot of players still to choose from. Lacazette. Let's talk about Lacazette. I know you wanted to talk about Pablo or Ceballos. You still can. Please do. But I want to hear from you about Lacazette as well, because I mean, there's something special going on with him right now. But feel free. Start with Ceballos.
Well, I literally had Lacazette on my points to discuss as well. So perfect. Lacazette.
You write out a dossier of things that you want to talk about, and then cross them off as they get discussed.
Kind of. Yeah. The second goal from Lacazette, that footwork, freaking hell, I enjoyed it. The one touch when he flicked it over to put the ball behind the net, I mean, that was just beautiful. So that hold up play, that Aubameyang cannot bring it to the game at all. So that's where it gets difficult for us to say, do we play Aubameyang and Martinelli? Do we play 3-5-2 going forward for the rest of the season? But that's again, like, Arteta wanted to shift from 3-5-2 back to 4-2-3-1, and then going again to 3-5-2 with more creatives and packing people in the center, more wing back runs from Saka on the right and Pepe on the left, as in this game. So is that something that he wants to go for the rest of the games and kind of grind out the results? That's how he got initial results at the end of last season. Which is something interesting, and I would be glad to see how he lines up on Sunday against Fulham. So that could be a precursor, in my opinion, to see what Arteta brings onto the table. So yeah, Lacazette with Balogun signing the contract. Hopefully he goes on loan next season. I was literally watching Haaland Academy videos yesterday. Balogun, Saka, then Nketiah, Reece Nelson, all of them in like one giant 19-minute video, and how they have graduated from there.
It's crazy, and there are more that are just kind of like they may not ever make it at Arsenal, but I mean, Mainsley, Willock. I mean, all these guys came through Hale End. It's crazy the generation of players that come through. Now, again, they're not all future Premier League first teamers, and certainly, or at least not at Arsenal
level, not at Arsenal.
But I mean, the quality of that class is just unbelievable.
Oh yeah, I mean, even for a couple of touches that Balogun had at he got like 4 minutes of time at the end. He came in.
But the symbolism of that, though, I mean, Arsenal have not come out and said that he's re-signed a contract, but he's re-signed the contract.
Yes.
And I mean, had he not, you would not have seen him travel.
He wouldn't have been on. Exactly, he would have been back home.
He wouldn't have been on the plane. He wouldn't have been on the bench. He wouldn't have been one of the 5. Did we even use all 5 subs today? I don't think we did.
We did.
We did. Okay.
Was I think
Elneny, Martinelli,
Cedric, and Nketiah, and then finally it was Balogun.
I completely missed Cedric and Nketiah. I was like giddy from I was like kind of in a trance of let's just close this out. Nothing else happened. I completely missed those 2 substitutions. But yeah, I mean, Balogun getting into that game wasn't about tactics. It was about showing him a path.
That's exactly, and that's how Saka came into a play. Like with Unai Emery, last 5 minutes, last 10 minutes, started showing what he's about and started getting full minutes. Yes. He got lucky with the injury of Kieran Tierney at the early part of the season with Unai, and where Arteta came in at the latter end. So he played at the left back and showed what he could do at that time. So if something happens to our central striker, the number 9, Alex Lacazette, in next game or 2, then that literally opens up doors for Balogun to start.
Yeah, I mean, please do not let that happen, because Lacazette.
Yeah, knock on the wood. I don't want that. I mean,
as my friend Rohan from the same old Arsenal USA likes to say, Lacazette is enjoying quite the purple patch at the moment, and there's just no stopping him. So I see what you're saying. I understand that. If Aubameyang is sick and for whatever reason Lacazette's unavailable, there's basically 2 people that you could choose from to take that spot. Instead of trying to figure out how to jigger everyone together and figure out how they're going to fit, we now get to see whether Balogun can get the job done. We get this. I mean, well, I suppose you could have 3 people, and Nketiah is actually the one with the most senior experience in that position. But Martinelli, Balogun, and Nketiah, and any of those could kind of grab the brass ring and go for it. So
yeah, I mean that's.
I don't want to see it, but I do want. I mean, like, maybe we got to run now where the next game. I mean, we have, I think, 1 game a week for the next couple of weeks. Yes. It's Fulham on Sunday, then
the following week, and I think we play Crystal Palace.
Well, yeah, there's Fulham on Sunday, then Everton actually on Friday. And then the next round starts. So it's not actually as big of a situation as possible. There's a game in between the 2 Villarreal games against Newcastle United on May 1st. That might be a game where you see an interesting starting number 9, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
In between the 2 Villarreal games, where you've got to keep Lacazette, in that position.
Legs. Exactly.
So,
I mean, even in that case, I think Arteta might play Lacazette to keep him match fit for just like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And if you're winning, if you already have 1 or 2 goals, I don't see him, or at least I wish he doesn't keep Arteta Arteta doesn't keep Lacazette more than like first half of the game. So let give it to the youngsters. I mean, at this point, what else do we have to do for our league season? Just go all out. Let the youngsters play for that.
And it isn't just a learning experience. They've shown they can get the job done too. And Newcastle, Fulham, these are not, these are teams that are closer to the quality of Sheffield United than they are to Manchester City. That's for sure.
Exactly. So that is one thing that I would definitely want to see. But at the same time, if the club is thinking to cash in on Lacazette, this is actually really good for us because with his purple patch, him turning close to 30, I mean, like that's hey.
I love that expression. It's even better when it's said with an accent. I don't know why. Purple patch. I love it.
Exactly. So that gives us money. I mean, who is interested in him? I mean, I read news with Barcelona, probably. I don't know what's going on with that club. Can they even pay money, or they'll be like take installments like us giving?
I mean, I'm still praying that somehow we get somebody to take Aubameyang's contract off our hands and maybe even give us a few, not a few, but like a relatively small transfer fee for his worth because of his contract. Get that do-over. And, again, I'm not anti-Aubameyang. I still think he has quality, but there's just too much stuff going on. And the malaria, I'm not holding against him. I'm just saying, like there's more than that, in my opinion, going on. Lacazette seems like the type of guy that we should extend for a year, keep him there as a bridge for the youngsters because he loves playing with them. When he's next to Aubameyang or when he's next to Willian,
if
you just don't see the same look again.
If you see today's celebrations after Saka's goal, that's what Lacazette can bring to the table.
Yeah.
That's why Arteta has Luis in the starting lineup whenever Luis is fit. That's why Arteta has Xhaka in the starting lineup almost every time. That thing to shout at your fellow people, that thing to lead from the front. Aubameyang, he seems to be a very silent captain, and unless like literally referee calls him up or he tries on that front, like there's an injury that he starts going towards the referee's side and complains on that side. I don't see him shouting towards his fellow players like make the run, go forward. But you'll always see Xhaka, he'll be pointing it, go this way. David Luiz, sending this. He'll be pointing one guy to run this one. Then the next thing you see, Luiz throwing in the ball or like literally releasing Aubameyang to clean up the people. I mean,
well, and we've talked for years about how we are devoid of leadership on the pitch, and I think we need to recognize that. And as much as it hurts me to say it, it doesn't hurt me, but I still do not like the guy. But Xhaka is a leader, Luiz is a leader, Lacazette is a leader, as we showed today, and Aubameyang just isn't, and Tierney it has that in him as well. And these are the guys we have to have out there influencing other players without negative influences around.
Pretty much. I mean, with the play and the position of Thomas Partey, if he develops into leadership role, that's also something that we can see him growing into that by the time Tierney converts into a full-time captain. It could be too early for Tierney at 23, but hey, we had Fabregas at probably the youngest captain of our club. So
age. I mean, Tony Adams.
Tony Adams, yeah.
It isn't about the age; it's about the influence, and people either take you seriously or they don't, and it's not a quantifiable thing. It just is, or it isn't.
It's a persona. It's not how old you are.
Well, and it's backing up what you say with what you do, and we have some players like that. Thank goodness. So, Vivek, obviously your Twitter handle's on there, Vivek_Malik. Anything else you want to share with us, or anything else you want to tell to the chat?
I mean, I just love what you guys do. Every day, Thursdays, Mondays, always have the Gooners podcast behind me running and then working. Work from home life. I love it.
I love to hear it, Vivek. You're always kind and communicating, and that's what this podcast is all about. So, pleasure talking to you again, buddy.
Pleasure as well.
Take care. All right, so I found that last video of the one negative fan that we have. The guy looks familiar. I don't really remember him very well, but here we go.
I predict that we're going to lose.
Yeah. So I asked my co-hosts, my three co-hosts, for for their videos. Owen sent his in. Mikey sent his in. Andy sent his in. That was the one he sent in. So what are you going to do? In any case, come back soon, Andy. We miss you. All right. So we are going to welcome in our final open micer of the night, and it is Scott. I think are you batting 1,000 for these open mic shows, or did you miss one? You're muted. Batting 1,000, by the way, is a baseball term. I realize I'm using a baseball term on a football podcast, but have you been on? Are you going 100%, or did you miss one of them? I think maybe.
I've been on. This is my third straight, and today I guess I'm kind of the Balogun of the podcast. You know,
you're the Balogun, and that means that we value you so much that we're showing you a pathway to being on a regular basis by bringing you on for again with another baseball comment, the cleanup hitter, as it were. You're generally pretty good with the tactical noose and breaking down the game. I'll just open the mic up to you. Any specific elements of the game that you want to talk about that I just had dinner right before the pod, haven't already been covered, or any players that you want to drill down on? Because I've run out of nice things to say about this game, which is hard to believe because there's a lot.
There was some irony because I spend like every match saying, my God, why are you playing Willian? Bring on Martinelli. And then today I'm like, why are you putting on Martinelli? Don't risk him. Put on Willian.
Well, there is game management, I suppose, and that hasn't necessarily been Arteta's strong suit to many, but
right.
I was never happier to see Elneny. Yeah. It's funny because and frankly, I wouldn't have been like that perturbed if he had started. I'm perfectly happy the way it worked out, and Ceballos did better than I trusted him to be. Scott, I lied. You're not going to be the last person. There is one more that just popped in, but I'm going to have him on. But yeah, just forgot what I was saying. Oh,
the overarching feeling I came away with today was absolutely stepping on the necks of a team that shouldn't be able to play with us. Feels a little like I joked last week, hey, 3-0 against the worst club. We've got our Arsenal back. Haha. This actually kind of felt a little bit like getting our Arsenal back. Just stepping on the necks of a club that shouldn't be able to play with us. And today we said, you're not going to.
And not only should they not be able to play with us, but they're sneaky good. Like they were crap on Thursday week, and the only thing that saved them was the fact that we were too. And 1-1 was probably the right. We probably should have won that game, but we didn't do well enough to assure us of a win, and so we came out even level.
Yeah, but there's three things that I kind of really continue to come away with. One is the continued influence of Saka and Smith Rowe, and just how in a span of 12 months, or in Smith Rowe's case, 4, they've become indispensable Arsenal players and the talisman of our future. And the fact that they never seemed like, when's the last time you can think of, Saka really didn't have a good game today, or Smith Rowe really struggled today. Even like their worst games, they're 5, 6 out of 10. And their continued influence at that age is pretty stunning. The second thing I come away with, and we talked about this a little bit last week, is Nicola Pepe becoming the guy that we thought we were buying 2 summers ago. That guy just week in, week out produces end product.
Yeah.
And that's indispensable.
It's such a relief too. Because how close were we to just writing him off as a almost a complete loss, in the sense that he was never going to get in the lineup. We weren't going to see him anymore, and we had destroyed his resale value, so we couldn't even really unload him without taking a 50 million pound loss. And now I can't name. With all the attacking options we have, Pepe's the first one I put out there. Unless Odegaard and ESR are both healthy, and then you play both of them together if you can. And we've got this conflict now where we almost someone's always going to miss out. And I felt like that was Pepe's, undoing recently because he was the one that got left out. But you can't leave him out now.
Yeah, well, I think where this is really trending, and granted, look, Sheffield United, Slavia Prague, these are not the Manchester City and Chelseas of the world. But if you look at where our personnel is trending, we seem to have a real elegance and a real balance to when we play in more of a 4-3-3, like we played the last two matches, with Partey on his own, manning the center of midfield, Xhaka off to his left as an outlet, and then a couple of creative guys in front of him. The last two matches has been Ceballos on the left and Saka on the right. It's pretty amazing to think that when you reintroduce Odegaard into that, but and then Lacazette being able to do what he does, which is let the runners move on ahead of him while he picks his spots and makes his way to the spot, which is where he flourishes. And like I said, there's a balance to it. There's an elegance to it. And the last 2 weeks, I mean, my goodness, we've just produced 7 goals in 2 matches. Again, granted, not against the top competition.
Doesn't matter.
7 goals in 2 matches with Xhaka and Chambers as our fullbacks. Like, could you have imagined this a month ago?
Well, no. And how many times have we played 2 or 3, subpar teams that should be below us in the, or are below us in either in the European pecking order or in the Premier League, and struggled to score.
Yeah, well, it's the drop points.
And I'm not even just talking about pre-Christmas. I'm talking about just in the.
Well, look, it's the drop points to Burnley and Wolves that have sunk us this year. There's 8 teams ahead of us, and we've got wins against 5 of them and still have a chance to get one against Everton. It's that Burnley match. It's that Wolves match. And look, at the end of the day, this is kind of the beauty of the Premier League, that there are no meaningless matches.
None.
And if you come up short, you're going to look back at that one against a Burnley and say, God, we got 1 point there. We should have got 3. We got no points. We should have got 3. And that's certainly what's been biting us in the ass for the better part of the last 2 years.
Well, and we saw it in Emery's pre-Europa League final run up in the league, where we ended up 1 point out of the Champions League spots, having
that was when
points to Brighton and Crystal Palace and you name it.
2 years ago, when nobody wanted 4th place, and we won the race to not get it.
Right. Yeah, we were the 5th team in a 4-team race or whatever you call it. I don't know.
But no, I think that I tell you what, to consider where Xhaka was when he was throwing down the armband, and most of us probably said he's probably never going to play for us again. And to watch him go and do a job at left back the way he has, especially in a critical match, Sheffield, whatever, but a very critical match today. And he goes and does a job. And, that's the reason why, as much as fans have soured on him, his teammates and every coach he's ever played for has stood by him.
Ever soured on him. And it's, there's no debating that. I have my own personal feelings about what he did that day against Crystal Palace. I don't care for how he, it was cute at first how he would clap back at critics every time he scored a goal. And then, to do it with a wonderful free kick the game after his suspension ended for a just dickhead red card, that got me mad all over again. I'm like, to come out in the press with, and say what he said, it's just, hothead. I could say all the reasons why I don't care for him as a person, or the style of communication he has with supporters and in general. But at the end of the day, his job is to play football. And when he does it well, and in frequently more and more, he's doing it well and doing it in ways that help the team, like the last 2 games. It's hard to argue that he isn't one of the better players on our team this season. And you can have a diversion of thought where you think, I don't like this guy and I wish he wasn't on our team, for things both on and off the pitch, and still be like, you know what, clearly my opinion doesn't matter, and what is our substitute? Would I gladly upgrade on him and move him on while he has value? Sure, but maybe that unsettles the team. Maybe that is mixing the wrong chemicals together, and maybe that's subtraction by addition as opposed to the other way around. Who knows? And that's why I'm glad I don't make those decisions. I just talk.
Right.
So,
but yeah, but today, just to have a stress-free Arsenal day.
Oh, it's wonderful.
So damn delightful.
A stress-free Arsenal evening. I don't know that it was a stress-free day, but definitely a stress-free evening. Scott, I got to let you go because we have one more guest on, and he's got to go to varsity soccer football practice in about 15 minutes. So good to see you again, Scott. Hope to see you again. It'll be, I guess, morning on Sunday for once instead of the afternoon. But anything you want to share? Now, is your Twitter handle like AS Soccers or is it Ass Ockers? What's it?
It's neither. It's actually the origin of the word soccer came from a Soccers, which are the people that played association football as opposed to what we now know as rugby. And that's where the word soccer came from.
I don't know why I gave that you learn things on the Gooners pod. That's all I can
That's
say.
what I'm here for. Cheers, mate.
Thanks. Take care, Scott. All right. Now, I said earlier in the podcast we do not have kids on, and while I don't consider this next and final guest a kid, he's my kid, and while he's 17, I am giving parental permission for him to appear rather than asking him not to let his parents find out that he's on the podcast stream, which is what some of our competition, who actually has 90,000 times as many viewers as we do, has. So anyway, Jake, Magic Mike's son, where are you calling us from?
Is the audio good?
The audio is great.
Okay.
And the video is even better. You look as handsome as I've ever seen.
15 feet away from you.
But, through a wall, but so let's tell everyone about our game watching process, because I'm here in my office room watching the game on a stream that, like, it started at halftime. Like, the game for me started when everyone else was at halftime. It was so far behind. I'm finding out about goals and VAR and all this stuff from tweets and then from you come running into my office when we score. But you came into my office a lot today.
Yeah, I mean, it's much better than the opposite. Every time there was a goal, I would come in and I would see you like scrambling around to realize that we've scored and annoyed that you couldn't see it, because I would be in your office and I would see the goal happen a minute and a half after it actually happened. And
it was hell, because
I'm not sure why that's happening, but
I figured it out for the second half. But in the first half, I realized how far behind I was, and so I tried to change it. And then by the time I got back on, we'd scored the second goal already, and you had just left the office and came running back. But this Europa League has given us some great moments in my office, because it's during the middle of the day. You're just finishing up school, getting ready for practice. But
these games are a good time for me, because the second half is like just about when I'm done. So like if there's something good happening, which most of the time there has been with that Olympiacos ending and also this, but it's good because I can see the good moments that Arsenal are having with my dad.
Yeah, hey, and I mean this just. I've said this many, many times before. There is nothing better. I think the way it goes is first have a son or daughter. I have both. Train them to love Arsenal, which some people consider abusive, but I don't think that you feel that way.
I'm all right with it,
because we've spent cups together, we've spent last minute wins together, we've been to the Emirates together, and it's just, it's a dream come true. Having the father-son connection that we do. We have a brick at the Emirates together that we can go see at Celebration Corner every time. You're getting some love from Tony G, who you might know as Tony Lee Hooker from the FIFA tournament. Not sure if you defeated him along the way, but
this year
you were the champ of the Xbox tournament for Gooners.
I'm very excited to do that again as well.
Yeah, we're going to be releasing
right?
Before you know it. Question from Mass Gunner. Striker Jake, why is your bedroom in Everton blue? That's a good question. We we didn't really think about that when we painted that 17 and a half years ago.
Yeah.
It's not really Everton blue though. It's more kind of like, is it?
I can show some of the other stuff around my room and he'll be happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah. The boy is not lacking for sporting paraphernalia.
It's just a favorite color, but we've got Arsenal all around.
Yeah. So yes, we are definitely an Arsenal family. You got your first practice tonight. This is me just as the Jews say, kvelling a little bit, but my boy made varsity last night.
Yeah, I'm hoping to follow in the lines of what Lacazette did today and score some goals in my practice tonight. Because I
thought you were going to say I want to follow like my dad did, who in his junior year of high school scored bags of goals for the Americans.
You have bags of pace as well, so I'm just going to try and mirror what you did.
Bags of pace. Gab Marcotti would feed me from the side. I would run in behind the last defender and put it in the net. What's his name? Steve-O would clap from the sideline on his skateboard with his funny haircut. This was the life I lived. And you are at that age now, so I'm counting on you. Any chicks? This is where the father's going to find out about the son's chicks.
Okay.
This is probably
not yet, not the time yet, not the time. But I'm very excited to see Arsenal face against Emery. I think it's going to be very interesting.
I love how you're trying to put us back.
Something I saw on Twitter today was people talking about how like everyone underestimates the Spanish teams in these tournaments, which is weird because like it's the semifinals of the Europa League. People shouldn't be underestimating any Spanish teams. Like Sevilla is always here, except for this year because United beat them. But like Villarreal's here, they must have something good going on. So
Valencia seems to always be in the mix. I mean, just over the years, this competition, you've got Real and Barcelona taking the Champions League to themselves, but the next 5 or 6 teams underneath them, always in the mix in the final 4. Usually a couple in the final 8 of the Europa League, and I said it at the beginning of the podcast. I didn't want to dwell on this too much, and thank you for those that joined us because we didn't. But it's going to be a tough matchup, and I mean both teams are going to have so much to prove. I really kind of can't wait to watch it, even though I'm nervous about it because there's never been more to play for. A place in a European final.
It'll show how much they really want it. Yeah,
Emery's going to tell he's going to tell his players to not take any prisoners. Arteta's going to want to win that game, and I think it's a weird one, but I can't wait to see it.
He'll join his press conferences and give his good evenings on the game, and hopefully it'll be a good evening for the Arsenal boys.
I hope so, and Drago pointing out my incredible parenting skills. I didn't ask if he had any like left over for me. I asked if soccer was getting him, and I call it soccer when it's played here in America. I call
maybe
it
after the varsity news. Who knows?
All right. Yes, you never know what can happen there. So
yeah. All
right, buddy. I know you got to get to practice. You got to drive yourself to practice. I don't know where the time went with you, but you're a man, and you're Magic Jake.
Magic Mike's son. Thanks for having me on at the end.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for feeding me. Thanks for all that stuff. But you know what? I love you, and we're gonna finish off the podcast with you and a happy 4-0 win on to the Europa League semifinals, on to Fulham on Sunday morning, and come on, you Gooners.